So guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got a special guest today, Mr. Darren Appleton, Hall of Fame, one of the greatest players of all time at American pool and English 8-ball. Pleasure to chat with you, mate.
Yeah, cheers for having me.
So I suppose we should start with your health, really. How's things? Everything okay?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, all things considering, very lucky to be alive. For people that don't know, I had a cardiac arrest. I was gone for 45 minutes. And yeah, just very fortunate to be here. So all things considering, I can't complain. I mean, it's been tough, but you just plod on, don't you? You just get on with your life and do the best you can. And at least I'm lucky enough to continue playing pool and staying in the game really. But yeah, it was like scary stuff. Come to terms with it now and just kick on with life really.
Yeah, you had us all worried there for a while. So you started playing a bit of Chinese 8-ball again. You went over to the World Championship in December. Does that mean that 224 you're going to be back full time again, or what's your plans for 224 and moving forward?
It's all a bit up in the air really. I mean, I sort of want to make another go at the American pool, but obviously with the money involved with Chinese pool, you sort of want to give that a go as well. And Ultimate Pool are doing some bits and bats in America. They're taking the Ultimate Pool to America. So there's like 3 different disciplines really, maybe even 4 if you include the American 8-ball on the bar tables. And in English 8-ball, I'm thinking about playing a few events at English Pool, which if you'd asked me that a few years ago, I don't think I'd ever play again. So yeah, there's definitely options. Obviously Chinese pool, the money's incredible. So I just wish it was 10, 15 years earlier. Then yeah, I probably would focus on Chinese pool 100%, like yourself really, I guess. But yeah, I still think I've got a bit to offer in the American pool side of it as well. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to have like a proper year where I can just focus on playing pool without some drama in my life. So it'd be nice to have 1 or 2 years where I can just give it a proper go with no interruptions and see where it takes me. But on the other side of it, I'm not as dedicated or as committed as what I used to be. I like to do my coaching and all that stuff, which is like guarantees an income, and I've got quite a big following in America. So yeah, it's just I guess just a bit of an hybrid player these days. I think going forward, where just trying my hand at a bit of everything without any expectations, and then see where it takes you, and then obviously do my coaching.
Yeah, I suppose unless you're kind of thoroughly out and out in a particular cue sport, I suppose there are the ones, the Jason Shaw and those guys from the UK that people would know who are just concentrating on American pool predominantly. If you look at the likes of Chris Mellin as an example, I guess even Gareth Potts with the English pool Chinese 8-ball, myself English pool Chinese 8-ball. So you see yourself kind of trying to mix the games to some degree. How are you finding things travelling around? Are you enjoying the travelling as you once did, or is it a bit more of a grind than it once was? Or
yeah, the travelling's not as easy as it used to be. Mainly because of my health, so I have to be a little bit careful. For example, I wouldn't be able to go to America one day and then a couple of days later fly over to China. I'd have to have like intervals between the trips, just because I'm on a lot of blood thinners, a lot of medication, so I have to be careful with that. I have to get health insurance wherever I go, and obviously it's not cheap. So I try and stick to one place for a period of time, and then if I'm at home for a couple of weeks, then I'm okay to travel again. So I have to do everything in moderation. It's like my diet, drinking, all that stuff. I have to be careful what I do with everything really. But travelling's not easy because I have to obviously get travel insurance, health insurance, and obviously flying at altitude is a little bit dangerous because I'm on a lot of blood thinners. So obviously, and I'm still suffering from like pins and needles, but my doctors are trying to fix what the problem is there at the moment. But in general, I'm okay to travel as long as I don't. But I'll never be doing the 60 flights, 50 flights like I used to do. If I can do 20 flights a year, I'd be more than happy with that. So I sort of pick and choose my tournaments. So whether that's going to China 3 or 4 times a year, go to America 3 or 4 times a year, and a few other trips. But the problem is that when you do these trips, you have to do a lot of domestic flights while you're there, which is not too bad because it's only like 2 hours. So stuff like that's okay. But the long haul trips is definitely tougher than what they used to be. And as you're getting older, you probably don't look forward to them long trips like you used to do as well. But I'm okay to do everything in moderation.
Okay, and you touched upon the ultimate pool. I think that's something that we should mention. Obviously, I've taken a season off, so to speak. But when I heard that you were back playing, and the interest, obviously, with ultimate pool branching out into America. So, for what a lot of people don't understand is it's effectively like international rules as played on the Ultimate Pool Tour with the bar table 7x4 in America. So effectively you'll be playing that, and then you touched upon maybe you'll be playing a bit of English pool as well, were you? When was the last time you played that?
Well, I think 2018. I think we played the Supreme Series. I think that's the last time I actually played a tournament. Or I don't think I've played at all since then. So it'd be 5-6 years. I had like a little spell there for a year when the Supreme Series started. There was quite a bit of money floating around. It was where players from the old Bapto days and 3PO days and the World Rules days, they all come together, and it was a good little tour actually. And obviously now it's become the Ultimate Pool, and obviously they're doing a lot of good things. So I think English pool's in a healthier position than what it's ever been, really. I played the pairs event last year, which sort of gave me a taste for it, and I think they've got a good setup. I think they're trying their best for the game, and we'll see. I don't know how many events I'll be able to play, but I see that Phil's still doing well and Mellin's doing well, so I'm thinking, well, we're all around the same age, so I'm thinking, well, if them guys are doing all right, then maybe I can do a little bit. But it's just finding time, really, and then obviously it's not easy to change equipment and getting used to the physics of the balls, really.
Yeah, I mean, certainly when you told me when we had a brief catch-up a few days ago, it sort of made me feel like, it'd be nice to kind of, maybe in 225, play a couple of events myself. Be nice to just kind of walk out there one last time, I suppose, and do battle like we always did years ago. Touching on the Supreme Series, there was a grand final, wasn't there, if you recall, and it was a £51,000 huge prize. Sadly, you fell a little bit short to Liam Dunstan in the final. It was obviously a great play in his own right. But did you actually put much prep work into that, or did it just come back to you naturally again? Did you do a lot of hours, or did you just sort of turn up and you let your game come back together?
Well, it was a time where I was going through quite a lot of personal problems, so I wasn't playing a lot of American pool. So that's the reason why I played on it, really, because I was basically stuck in the UK. Because up to 2017, I was living in America, so I moved back to the UK around 2018, and that's when I think the Supreme Series started. I wasn't playing any American pool, really. Because my mum got diagnosed with terminal cancer, so I was sort of a carer. So it was easy to play English pool because it's on your doorstep. So played a bit of English pool. I didn't. The first few events I didn't really put a lot of work in, but obviously the last event, the prize money was really big, so I decided to put the work in for that. So I did practice for about 2 weeks. I remember practicing about 2 weeks prior to that last event, the grand final, and it was the closest I felt to what I used to be at the game. Let's say 15, 20 years ago. I thought, I might have a chance here, and then looking back now, and I think I had a decent lead in the final. I sort of threw that one away a little bit. But like you said, like Liam's a class player.
Yeah, no, I sort of recall it because I sort of remember from the last 16 onwards. I think you beat Phil 11-10. I think you beat Carl Boys 11-10.
Yeah.
And then you beat Adam Davis.
Yeah, my best match was against Adam. I remember playing Adam and thinking, that's as good as I played, let's say, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think even Adam mentioned it after. He said, like, that's as good as anyone's ever played against me.
Yeah.
So I definitely had a flashback there, and it's the first time I really felt the cue ball. I thought, I've got the cue ball going exactly where I want it to go, because that's the hardest thing coming from American pool to English pool, especially with the cues. But in the final, because there's a bit of pressure, I sort of flicked a bit aside on the cue ball twice when I missed a couple of 8 balls. So that's basically what cost me the match. Is I missed 2 8 balls in that final, and Liam did well to come back and he beat me. I think 11-9. I think.
Yeah, and again, just on the theme that we're on. So I've seen that you've entered the Ultimate Pool event in Louisiana.
In Louisiana, next month.
Box tables. So again, as we said, that's the launch of it all. Looking forward to it. Excited about it, or?
Well, yeah, because it's something different and it's in America. So yeah, I've definitely got more fans in America than I have UK, just because the game's a lot bigger in America, and obviously I've had a lot of success. So I'm definitely more well known in the American pool circle than I would be the English 8-ball circle, because obviously you're soon forgotten about, aren't you? Really, if you're not on the scene. And obviously now you've got all the new crop of players. So yeah, I look forward to it, because obviously I'm going to know a lot of people there. And it's quite weird because Ultimate Pool are taking their product to the USA, but I'll know all the Americans more than what they will. So I'm hoping that I can help them with a lot of things there as well, where it'll benefit us both, Ultimate Pool and myself. And I can't really see how it can't be a success, because they're more or less playing the same rules as what they play in America anyway, just a few little tweaks with the 6 red shootout and the shot clock, which I think would be good, because it's what 8-ball needs anyway. It needs to have a little bit of excitement. So even though it probably doesn't suit someone like me, and suits you likes of Chris Mellins and what have you, but yeah, I think it makes it more fun, makes it a little bit more exciting. Like when I've watched it on TV, you sort of get glued to it. You know what I mean? Where usually I'd like watch, unless you're playing, I found it a really difficult game to watch, and even though I played it for a living for a long time, I just found it a difficult game to watch. But just because there was nothing exciting about the game compared to American pool, where now they've brought in the new rules and the shot clock. It makes it a bit more exciting.
And so yeah, you mentioned Chris there. He's going over to Louisiana as well. I see.
He's going everywhere, isn't he?
He gets around a little bit. I was actually thinking I might just hit a few balls myself at some of them for a holiday, and obviously just try and enjoy, playing it, because I think one thing that we will both agree on is that when you've done something for so long, it's very hard for people to get their head around the fact that you maybe not quite as dedicated, or you find it a bit of a grind, because with people, like going to work like 9 to 5, or they're like, "Are you kidding me? Aren't you? I'd love to be in your shoes doing all that." But what I did want to touch upon you a little bit was I get asked a lot, particularly by the amateur players on the channel, and all different levels of players. Really, is how do you cope with the mental side of the defeats? You know what it's like. You've got beat 11-10 in a big tournament. You wish you'd have played a different shot. Staring out the window of the aeroplane, just looking at the clouds for like 5 hours, thinking, why didn't I play that shot? Why shouldn't I have done this? Looking at the prize money, looking at the results afterwards, thinking, I would have played him next. That would have been, maybe just like to just sort of touch upon that a little bit with the viewers of like, just how difficult it is mentally just to keep going all the time.
It's brutal. I mean, I've said it for a long time, and people laugh at me. Is that I think pool's tough, mentally the toughest sport in the world, or game. Some people call it a sport, some people call it a game. Yeah. It's sort of on the fence of it. But I think mentally, I can't really think of any other game or sport what's as tough mentally as playing pool. Mainly because of how the game is. Obviously, there's a lot of luck in the game. You're not guaranteed opportunities at the table, especially when you play good players. So you just hoping it's your day. You can't afford to make mistakes. Everything's like everything gets punished, and it's the only game really. I mean, it's not the only game, but it's a game where you can play bad and win, and you can play your best and lose. And you're not guaranteed opportunities at the table. Where like we speak many times about snooker, darts. Is that every game, every rack, maybe not so much darts, we spoke about it earlier, is that you're guaranteed your opportunity. So if you throw a 180, I've got the chance to throw a 180, but if you've got the darts, then it doesn't really matter. Like you said, if you throw a 12 dart, I have to throw a 9 against the darts, but at least you're getting your opportunities at the board. And you'd have to be very unlucky for that scenario to happen consistently. Where pool, you can hit like 4 or 5 great breaks and not make a ball, and your opponent break bad 4 or 5 times, make a ball, and you get a shot, and you end up losing 8-2 whatever, and you're thinking, I played better than your opponent. But so when you try and tell people all this, they just think you're making excuses up, and it's sour grapes. But that's just the reality of the game, whether you're playing 9-ball or 8-ball. So yeah, it's I think mentally it's very tough. And I think that's why probably more so these days. Obviously there's a lot of mental health in the world, and I think a lot of pool players have gone through a lot of situations as well. I know a lot from myself. I've done it myself. I've been very outspoken about it, and I think it all relates to playing pool. I think obviously if you have some personal issues as well, which I have had, but for me personally, I think pool was the big trigger of it all. It's just tough because you're doing it for a living. So like you said, people think, oh, you do it for a living, it's great. You get to travel the world, but I look back now at 48 years old, I think I wish I would have seen these places. I've been all over the world, but probably 20% of the time I've actually stayed a few days longer and seen the sights. And I think, oh, I've been to Malaysia and these places. I'm thinking I couldn't tell you anything about the countries. So that's a big regret, really, is that I probably didn't spend a little bit more time in these places because at the end of the day it's work. So they're all working trips. You're trying to be professional most of the time. We try and be, we try and go to bed early and not drink. But yeah, so it's difficult because you've got to do the right things if you want to make it in the game. Where if you've got a regular job and you're doing these trips, then it's okay to have a bit of fun and have a drink. So that's the ultimate pressure, is that you do it for a living, and unfortunately we play a game, a sport, where you have to win to make a living. It's just very tough.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people don't kind of understand and appreciate as well is, and again, you know, you'll be able to help us out a bit with this, is the fact that a lot of the sports where you do actually travel, they're a part of a team, or they're playing a sport where the financial gains are exceptional. So you might take your wingman or your wife or your family. You know, so for example, Roger Federer has taken his family around with him pretty much all his career. And the top golfers will take somebody with them. Obviously, the caddies are part of their team, and various different things like that. And you see the tennis, they always sort of, you know, I want to say thank you to my team at the end of it all. And I know me personally, I've always felt the pool quite a lonely kind of, a lonely sort of thing to do. You're kind of at the events and, you know, you're trying to be friends, but it's difficult because you both want the same prize, or, you know, there's a group of you want the same prize primarily. And yeah, like, did you find it sort of, certainly when you was in your peak of it, did you find it lonely doing it, or did you feel, you know?
I think you're like me, is that you like to keep yourself to yourself anyway at these tournaments, and you don't like to room share. And I'm the same. I don't room share with anyone for probably 10, 15 years now. Just because I had a few bad experiences, I thought that's me done with sharing rooms with pool players, and that's no disrespect to them, but I just felt as if for the sake of spending that extra few £100 or dollars, whatever it is that you're going to benefit by getting a good night's sleep, doing your own thing. Come and go whenever you want, and also staying in your own bubble. And I'm a very intense player anyway. Probably you're very similar. That you just like to just do your own thing, get in the zone, all that stuff, and not have those distractions. So yeah, it's difficult. Very lonely. It's a very lonely sport, and yeah, even though you might have a group of people that you like and you travel with, but once you're there, you're on your own. Because at the end of the day, they all want you to lose. They might not say it. They might not say it, these players, but deep down, you know, they want you to lose. Even the British guys, 90% of them want you to lose. Because at the end of the day, you're taking their spot from something else.
Absolutely, yeah. And in terms of, you know, like you said there, you know, like you're travelling around and you're travelling around in a group, but you're not really in the group, like you say, because you're all after the same prize. If it's spots in tournaments, secretly you're wanting each other to get beat, and all these different things. And one of the questions I get asked a lot from doing the coaching, or sometimes you get the inbox, you know, on Facebook or whatever, is temperament. And I've always found you a little bit different to most people. So the idea of you're supposed to sit in your chair, not show any emotion because you're giving away something to your opponent. I feel like that is a little bit of an overused sort of theory, because I think certain players do need to let it out. I do think they need to let the frustration out. I think you've got to get it at your system. And I always felt that when you got a little bit angry or annoyed or kicked a table or whatever, that was your fire up. You know,
Yeah,
that was like, right, you're in trouble now because you've got me riled up, sort of thing. In terms of that, though, do you think that it was a good thing over the years to take the defeat so bad, which meaning obviously you wanted to win more, or do you actually wish that there was times when you thought, I wish I had taken it a little bit better because it may have helped my overall mindset as a person, sort of thing? You know what I mean?
A little bit. I guess when I look back now, I think I can't believe I used to be that way, because obviously I've mellowed a lot over the years. I take defeat a lot better. Just because you've had that many defeats, you just accept it, otherwise you go insane. But when I was younger, I couldn't understand how I could lose, because I just thought if I played my best, that's it, I win. Simple as that. I mean, you're the only guy what I thought could beat me if I played my best. You know what I mean? And maybe one or two others. But so yeah, it was very hard to take defeat. Because I was so dedicated to the game, and I practiced probably as much as anybody at that particular time, especially the early days of English pool. I just lived and breathed the game, and I just hated losing, whether it was football, boxing, fishing with my brothers, all that stuff. We'd always have a lot of competition. So I've always wanted to win, no matter what I've done. So, you know, I was a terrible loser. I don't think I disrespected my opponent, say, oh, I can't believe you beat me, or you're rubbish type of thing. It was more like an eternal thing, where I'd let my emotions out on the table, but I felt as if I had to do that to get myself fired up. I remember playing you a few times, and a few of people who I really liked, and I was a bit too soft at the start of the match, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm like 4-1 down here, and I'm thinking I'm being too nice, probably a bit too much respect for you or whoever it was, whether it was like Brewer and all these guys. And sometimes I just get that little bit angry just to fire myself up to make sure that I don't make the same mistakes. So that's the only reason why I really did it, was to fire myself up and give myself a kick up the arse, really. Is that obviously the game's tough enough as it is, but I think it's important to be true to yourself and be the character you are without crossing that line, which maybe once or twice I probably did. But yeah, so I probably look at myself as a little bit of like an Alex Higgins, probably a John Roy. I sort of had that sort of personality character, I guess, on the table. But off the table, I think I was very personable and just got on with everyone, really. But on the table, I just wanted to kill them, yeah.
And I know from a personal point of view that I feel like, because I take the defeat so much better now, and because I'm a little bit more, whatever, I don't think I was the winner that I once was. In fact, I know I'm not the winner that I once was. Do you feel like the fact that you've got that such winning mentality, do you feel like the fact that you do take the defeats a little bit better now, do you feel like it's made you lose your edge a little bit in matches?
You accept it, don't you? You accept it. I think because you've been to the well that many times and you've achieved everything in the game, you're thinking, do I really want to put myself through all this again? Because it is really, it's hard and it's torture mentally. It's very taxing mentally. I mean, obviously I should be dead. Like I think maybe the game nearly killed me. I guess really, because I wanted to win so badly. I found ways to deal with the pressure and the nerves. Like I was quite a heavy smoker. My diet was a bit inconsistent. I'm a very stressful person, so all that can play into your health. And yeah, I mean, it's just a brutal game, brutal sport. But the worst thing is that we're all playing for peanuts. That's the hardest part. Where we were speaking earlier about darts, where you can accept losing at darts one week because next week you're playing for another 100,000 or 200,000, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And snooker's the same. So there's less pressure in those sports than what these pool, because we're all playing for a piece of the pie, what's very small. So you have to win really to have any rewards. Like if you finish second, for example, in the World Masters at 9-ball, you get $20,000. I mean, that only goes it's not easy to get to the final of a major tournament and pick up $20,000. But if you win it, it's probably worth double that. So the difference between picking up the 80,000, maybe 100,000, because you're going to get the Moscone Cup, stuff like that, is massive. So it's harder for me to make a straight in 9-ball in a major tournament playing 9-ball than it is to make a 6-foot putt to win the Masters at golf, because that guy what missed a 6-foot putt, like Lee Westwood, who I'm a massive fan of, has done it a few times. At least he's walking away with a couple of $1 million in his pocket. So it's just, the pressures are completely different. And I've experienced both ends where you've got the ultimate pressure when you're not playing well, and you've got the ultimate pressure when you are playing well, and different type of nerves. So it's just a brutal game. And yeah, I just wish pool is what it is becoming now, like 10, 15 years ago. And because I think there's a lot more out there for mental health now, where when we played, we didn't have any of that. So we were just left to our own devices. And I know you've had your problems as well. It's not easy. And yeah, it's a very lonely, tough sport. And there's only so much you can practice as well. I mean, it's a game where, I mean, it's a job, but it's not a job. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain to people whether it is a job or not. It's your hobby become job, but you don't feel like you need to wake up at 7 o'clock every day to do the job. So it's still a little bit of an hobby, and we're just fortunate that we were good enough to get paid for it.
Welcome everyone. So recently I was invited to the Sam Leisure showroom, and I often get asked a lot about the table. What table am I playing on? It doesn't look like a Supreme, etc. Now it isn't a Supreme. It's actually a Sam Atlantic Champion table. We will do a review to tell you all about the different things, the different spec and all the positives about the table. And so yeah, keep a lookout for that. A big thanks to Sam Leisure for sponsoring the channel, and we welcome you to look at the video, and hopefully you'll love the table just like we do. The structure of the table, so it's a lot heavier in terms of you talked about the robust thing. You know, it does feel. It feels kind of a really good quality, you know, the weight of it. And with that said, can you tell us a little bit about the slate and the levelling mechanisms to a table? Obviously, sometimes you get your mate to hold the other end of the table up, and you know your back's gone after the time you've done it, and you know it can take forever to level a table, where sometimes you never even get it right because you're just fed up with it and you just give up. So yeah, a little bit on that for the viewers as well.
Yeah, of course. So the table itself, I'll start with the structure, I think, and what it's made from. So the table itself, there isn't any real MDF in it. It's not MDF structured. It's marine ply. Okay. So it's marine ply with a hard-wearing Formica finish. The base itself is ply as well, so it's not MDF, which is very good from a moving perspective. It means this table can be moved, and there's no worry about the legs kind of popping through if it just takes impact a bit landing back in position. The levelling side of it, there is a little notch under the feet, basically, on the pin between the feet and the legs, shall I say, where a 13mm open-ended spanner fits in. And you can literally just tweak it as and when you need to. It's really a one-man job. You don't need anyone lifting it. And you can get rid of all those beer mats that you've been collecting as well.
No beer mats and no bad backs.
No, that's it. They're not needed. Another few points to bring across on the levelling is you haven't just got the 4 feet when it comes to levelling. There are some levelling points within the internals of the table, on the slate, as it were. So they can just make some fine, small adjustments there as well, and also gives the slate lots of support centrally, which some tables don't do. And over time, you tend to see little dips and things like that.
Yeah, no, I mean it's really interesting, obviously, to see your insight into it all. And but just to finish up this section of what we're doing, and it's been great to hear your thoughts and everything. And I'm sure everybody out there is sort of glued to what you've got to say. I've just got one more question for you. Yes or no? Will I see you win a major again?
If it was 8 ball, I'd probably say yes. 9 ball, very difficult.
All right, thanks for watching the video, folks. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.